The moment my sister raised her glass at our family's annual Christmas Eve dinner and announced to the entire table, mom, dad, my brother, aunts, uncles, even the neighbors we'd invited, here's to Emily and her pathetic little dream of writing children's books. Babe, at 36, you're still playing pretend while the rest of us actually make money. Maybe it's time to grow up and get a real job like the rest of the family. The whole room exploded in laughter. She smirked like she'd just dropped the funniest burn of the year. I sat there in my ugly Christmas sweater, cheeks burning, fork frozen halfway to my mouth, and felt every eye on me like I was the family joke. She thought she'd just humiliated me into silence forever. She had no idea she'd just woken up the version of me that would bury her life in pieces so beautiful, so quiet, she wouldn't even see the shovel until the dirt hit her face. My name is Emily, and for as long as I can remember, I was the invisible middle child in a loud, picture-perfect family from Willow Creek, Pennsylvania. The kind of small town where everyone knows your business and your failures get replayed at every backyard barbecue. Mom was the queen of the church potluck circuit. Dad ran the local hardware store that barely stayed afloat. My older sister Sophia was the golden girl who turned her lifestyle influencer Instagram into a six-figure real estate side hustle. And my little brother Tyler was the charming screw-up who could talk his way out of anything. Me? I was the reliable one, the one who stayed home after college, took the steady paralegal job at the county courthouse, paid the family bills when Dad's store had a slow month, drove Mom to every doctor appointment, and quietly tucked my dreams into a notebook I kept hidden under my bed like contraband. That notebook was full of children's stories I'd been writing since I was 12, tales about brave little girls who stood up to dragons that looked exactly like the mean girls at school, or families that learned to love each other even when they didn't deserve it. I'd never shown them to anyone except my best friend from high school, who always said, "Em, these are magic. You have to publish them." But every time I even hinted at wanting more, Sophia would roll her eyes and say, "Books? In this economy? Stick to filing papers, sis. At least you're good at that." But that wasn't the worst part. The warning signs had been there for years, tiny cuts I ignored because family is family, right? Sophia would borrow my laptop and accidentally delete files. She'd post vague stories about delusional dreamers who drain their families with heart emojis, and everyone knew who she meant. Mom would pat my hand and whisper, "Honey, Sophia's just being honest because she loves you." Dad would grunt, "Dreams don't pay the mortgage," then ask me to cover the store's electric bill again. Tyler was the only one who ever defended me, but even he'd shrug and say, "Just keep it on the down low, Em. You know how she gets." I wish I could say I saw the full betrayal coming, but things got worse, so much worse. It happened 2 weeks after that Christmas dinner. I'd finally worked up the courage to enter one of my stories in a national children's book contest. Something small, no big deal, just a dream I wanted to test. The entry fee was $50 I scraped together from skipping lunches. I told the family over Sunday dinner, voice shaking with excitement. Sophia leaned back in her chair, perfectly highlighted hair catching the light, and laughed out loud. "A contest? Oh my God, Emily, that's adorable. What's the prize? $20 and a participation sticker? Well, you're wasting time on fairy tales. I just closed a $450,000 lake house listing and made commission that could buy you a clue." Mom giggled. Dad nodded like it made sense. Tyler looked down at his plate. Then Sophia did the thing that broke me. She pulled out her phone, opened her Instagram stories, and live streamed right there at the table. "Hey besties, quick family update. My sister just announced she's chasing a children's book dream at 36. How cute is that? Drop a laughing emoji if you think she should stick to her day job." The comments poured in instantly. "Girl, no. Tough love. Some people never learn. She read a few out loud, laughing harder each time. My face burned so hot I thought I'd pass out. I wanted the floor to swallow me whole. That night, I cried in my car in the driveway until 2 a.m., listening to the same voicemail from Mom. "Sweetie, she's only trying to help you face reality." I didn't scream. I didn't quit my job the next day. I just went perfectly, dangerously calm. The same calm I'd felt the night I realized my family had been using me as their personal safety net for 15 years. I opened a new bank account they knew nothing about. I started waking up at 4:30 a.m. to write before work. I joined an online writing group under a fake name and learned everything about self-publishing, marketing, algorithms, and building an audience. I saved every single penny I could. And I started recording my stories as audio versions on my phone, practicing that soft, warm narrator voice I'd always imagined reading to kids at bedtime story hour. I didn't tell a soul, but I didn't know it yet. Everything was about to change. 6 months later came plot twist number 1. Tyler showed up at my apartment a rainy Tuesday night looking guilty as hell. I heard Sophia talking to Mom. She's been using your old story ideas, the ones you let her read years ago, as inspiration for her new kids' clothing line merch. She's selling t-shirts with your dragon character on them and calling it her original brand collab. She even trademarked the name. He handed me screenshots. My blood ran cold. She hadn't just mocked my dream, she'd been quietly stealing pieces of it to make herself look creative. I hugged my brother tight and whispered, "Thank you for telling me." That was the night I decided the revenge would be slow, surgical, and devastatingly elegant. No yelling, no public fights, just me becoming undeniable. I wish I could say that was the end of the humiliations, but things got worse, so much worse. Sophia doubled down. She started a podcast called Dream Crushers, where she anonymously dragged entitled family members who refused to adult. Everyone in Willow Creek knew it was me. My coworkers at the courthouse started giving me pitying looks. Dad actually suggested I take a break from writing and help at the store more. Mom sent me links to realistic career change articles. The pain cut so deep I could barely breathe some days. But every time the pain hit, I opened my laptop and wrote another chapter. My secret manuscript about a girl who slays the dragon wearing her sister's smile was growing into something special. I hired a cheap cover designer, I learned SEO, I built a tiny email list of 30 people who loved my sample chapters. And then came plot twist number 2, the one that almost made me quit. In July, Dad had a heart attack. The family group chat exploded. I dropped everything and sat by his hospital bed for 3 straight days, holding his hand while machines beeped. Sophia breezed in for photo ops, posting, "Praying for Dad, heart," with filtered selfies. On the second night, when it was just me and Dad awake at 3 a.m., Dad squeezed my hand and whispered, "I've read your stories. Sophia showed me the ones she found. They're beautiful. Don't let us stop you." Tears ran down my face. He'd known. He'd always known, but he'd been too weak to stand up to Mom and Sophia. That quiet confession lit a fire in me, hotter than any rage I'd ever felt. I finished the book in the hospital waiting room. I titled it The Dragon Who Wore Her Sister's Smile. I self-published it quietly on a Tuesday in August with zero fanfare. No launch party, no announcement to the family, just a little website, a few targeted Facebook ads to moms in Pennsylvania, and a dream. What happened next shocked everyone, including me. Within 3 weeks, the book hit number 1 in children's fantasy on Amazon. A major parenting influencer found it, posted a tearful video reading the dedication page. For every girl who was told her dreams were too small, and it went viral. Local Ms. picked it up, then national morning shows. Orders poured in so fast my printer couldn't keep up with the proof copies. I quit my paralegal job the same day the publisher from New York called, offering a six-figure deal for a 3-book series. I moved the money into my secret account and started planning the physical dream I'd always wanted. Story Haven, a cozy bookstore and storytime cafe right on Main Street in Willow Creek, 2 blocks from Dad's hardware store. I didn't tell the family until the grand opening invitations went out. Sophia, of course, found out through the town grapevine. She showed up at my apartment 2 days before the opening, designer bag swinging, fake smile plastered on. Emily, this is so cute. A little bookstore? In Willow Creek? You know nobody here reads, right? But hey, I'll come to the opening and take some content for my page. Free promo. She laughed like we were best friends. I just smiled and said, "That would mean the world to me, Soph." The opening night was pure cinema. October 15th, string lights twinkling, the smell of fresh coffee and cinnamon rolls, kids sprawled on beanbags while I read the first chapter of my book aloud. Over 200 people showed up, way more than the fire marshal wanted. Local TV cameras, parents crying in the back row, and then Sophia walked in, wearing her most expensive outfit, phone already recording, ready to film content and secretly mock me later. I saw the exact moment she realized what was happening. I stood at the podium, book in hand, and said, "Before I read tonight, I want to thank the person who inspired this entire story, my big sister, Sophia. She's the dragon in Chapter 7, the one who laughs at dreams until the dreamer becomes the hero. Without her tough love at Christmas dinner last year, I never would have found the courage to write this." The room went dead silent for half a second, then erupted in applause. Phones came out. People cheered. Sophia's face drained of color. Her smile froze like cracked porcelain. She tried to laugh it off, but the live stream she was running caught every second. Her own words from that Christmas dinner played as a clip I'd quietly edited into the background of my welcome video, looping on the big screen behind me. She turned and tried to leave, but the crowd blocked her path, congratulating her on being such an inspiring sister. She was trapped in the spotlight she'd always craved, only this time it was burning her alive. I didn't stop there. The next morning, my book sales page went live with a new author's note, a gentle, non-explicit version of everything she'd done: the stolen ideas, the public mockery, the family pressure. It was worded so perfectly that readers connected the dots without me ever naming names. Her influencer sponsors started dropping her by noon. Parents who'd bought her inspirational kids merch realized the dragon design was ripped straight from my unpublished notebook. Her real estate listings dried up because clients didn't want to work with the woman being dragged in every mom group on Facebook. Mom called me crying. "How could you do this to your sister?" I answered softly, "The same way she did it to me, Mom, in public, with a smile." Tyler moved into the apartment above my new bookstore and started helping run storytime events. Dad recovered and quietly transferred the hardware store's old display window to me for a permanent book nook. Sophia tried one last desperate twist. She showed up at the bookstore after closing, tears streaming, begging me to "take the post down, Em, I'm losing everything." I handed her a copy of the book, signed on the title page. "For the dragon who taught me to fly. Love, your little sister." She stared at it, hands shaking, and for the first time in our lives, I saw real regret in her eyes. Her brand collapsed within 60 days. The lake house listing she was so proud of fell through because the buyers saw the viral clips and backed out. She had to move back in with Mom and Dad, sleeping in her old bedroom while the town whispered every time she walked to the grocery store. Last month, she posted a vague healing journey reel with no likes. I heard through Tyler that she finally whispered to Mom one night, "I never thought she'd actually do it." I sit in Story Haven every evening now, watching little girls line up to get their books signed, their eyes bright with the same dreams I once had. The cafe is always full. My next book drops in 3 months. And sometimes when the sun sets through the big front windows and paints everything golden, I think about that Christmas dinner and the way Sophia's laugh sounded like it could kill a dream. Here's what I want you to hear if you're watching this and someone in your family has ever laughed at the thing that makes your heart beat. Your dream isn't silly. It isn't childish. It isn't too late. The people who mock you the loudest are usually the ones most terrified that you'll prove them wrong. Karma doesn't always roar. It whispers your story into the world until the dragon has no choice but to choke on the smoke. I turned my sister's mockery into my masterpiece. And the best part? Every single day, kids across the country fall asleep holding a book that started with her cruel laugh. If this story lit a fire in you, smash that like button, share it with the dreamer in your life who needs permission to rise, and subscribe, because there are so many more dragons waiting to be slain. You're not alone, and the pen really is mightier than the sword, especially when it's dipped in quiet, beautiful revenge.